Well, hello, friends. It's Beck here from Dance Principles United podcast. I am so excited today because I am joined by one of my very, very favorite Studio Growth Club members. She is absolutely incredible. She runs Belmont Dance Centre and her name is Miss Trudy. How are you today, Miss Trudy?
I'm really well, and I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're so excited to have you. And Trudy, you are such a bubble of everything in the SGC. Like you just, I think we just did a Connect retreat
Mm-hmm.
and we did little thank you cards in the Connect retreat and just said anyone that you want to say thank you to, please write them a card during the day. And you got so many cards. Yeah, that must
I
have
know.
made you feel amazing.
It did. It really, really did. Like, I mean, there are things that you don't tell yourself, I'd tell other people, but you just don't listen to that inner voice. It's
Mm,
just like that when you buy flowers, like you spend a lot of money on someone else's flowers, but you wouldn't spend that money on yourself. So to
true.
get those beautiful words, and they're still in my laptop case, and I look at them all the time, and yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Very great.
we've got.
Very grateful.
Well, we're grateful for you. We've got such a beautiful community. But I wanted to talk
Yeah.
today about your
Mhm.
studio journey because it's such an interesting, great one.
Mhm.
So, the first thing I want to ask you is how did you start your studio? Why did it start? All of that.
Mhm. Okay, I was very grateful to take over Belmont Dance Centre in 2018, and I took it
Hmm.
over, which was hard in itself because first time taking over a studio. Not that I mean I'd been a teacher for many many years and had that experience, but that studio ownership and especially taking it over from people was now looking back at it was hard. So yeah, it's been a hard journey, but now I feel like yeah, I feel like we're going places, and I'm so excited to be part of it and have such a wonderful team.
So, what do you think was the hardest part about that? Because I'm the same, right? So, I took a studio over as well. I sometimes look at our journeys as being so similar,
They are
but
very
yeah,
similar.
they
Yeah.
are. So, I took a studio over as well. Same thing. I was a teacher, and I know you're a really great teacher. And I know I'm a great teacher, and that's what I love doing. That's what I'm passionate about. I had no idea how hard the business side of it was going to be.
Mhm.
Is that what you found hardest, and what did you find hardest?
Absolutely. That business, having a business mindset, I had no idea. Honestly, I knew I was a good teacher. I knew I could, I knew and know now I can turn a syllabus into joy, and know what to look for and have that good eye for that technical eye. But as far as, running class, like running the business side, like, oh, don't worry, it doesn't matter if you don't pay today. It doesn't matter. I just want to teach you longer, it doesn't matter. Or costumes, have it like systems. Oh my God. Yeah. Really, really hard. Really hard. Yeah. So, but yeah, turned the corner. Like I've just done this big 360. And it's funny because our gorgeous Nathan, who I adore with Amanda, he used to always say, because I'd always think, oh, I'm working hard. I'm working so hard. I'm working so hard at it all. And he'd say, Tree, it's just like one of those big heavy wheels that, you can't push and you're pushing and you're pushing and you can't make it start. But then all of a sudden it turns a little bit and then it turns a little bit more and then more until you get this consistent roll. And that's where I am. And all thanks to, Studio Growth Club. And of course, you are just, yeah, I very proud and honored to say not only are you, I respect you as my friend, but my mentor as well.
Oh, thanks, Trude. You're so amazing. I'm going all red. So, let's talk about what your studio is about because I think people are always interested to see what different studios are about.
Yeah,
Tell me, like, what's your main thing in your studio? What do you like? You know what I mean? Like, some
yeah.
people are rec studios, some are comp. What are you?
Yeah, we're a bit of a mixture of both, I'd like to say. I'd like to say that we cater for everyone. We're very inclusive. I want to be when I think about Belmont Dance Centre, I want to be so much more than just learning to dance. I want a
Mm,
happier community. I want it to be that nurturing environment where, the kids love to come. And I've always said this, that I want the children that I teach when they're my age to want their children to learn to dance, because I've done the right job. I've done my job then. Not everyone's
mm,
a ballerina or, something like that. But if I can give them joy and a safe environment and, you know, uh, and lifelong skills like we do as dance teachers, and I think this is where we all go wrong. We don't realize how important we are, and how important we are to children, because
mm.
the kids don't just come to learn a dance. They're goal setting. They're having life skills. They're creating friendships. Which is why I promote now that we do, or I now have programs. We do preschool readiness programs and school readiness programs.
Mm.
That's what we're about. So much more than just learning to dance. That's the easy bit.
Tell me about the preschool readiness program because I love that. That's so smart because not all parents want to opt their kids into dance. And sometimes I think dance can feel like a scary thing to a preschool parent. So
Yeah.
tell me how you run your preschool classes differently.
Yeah, sure. What we do, the whole journey starts well and truly before the children actually step in the door, and they receive on the day of their trial, they receive a video message from myself or from one of the other teachers, and that's for two things. That's for their mum to feel comfortable about this person that they're going to send their child to, and also for the children themselves too, so that they feel comfortable straight away. And often like everyone's different, and sometimes it doesn't work that as easy as that, and needs a little bit more guidance. But since I've started to do that, it's been such a game changer for my studio. And I often in my message, because at the moment we've only got someone at our beautiful reception at a certain time, but that will change. That I really will have someone there during all classes while the studio's open. But at the moment, often I'm teaching while the children are arriving. So in my message, I say, hello, I'm Miss Trudy, and I can't wait to meet you. And I say, I may be teaching when you arrive, but please, I'll finish my class. You make yourself at home, and I can't wait to meet you as soon as my class finishes. And then, as it's funny because I sometimes hear the children say, "Oh, there she is." Like that's really good.
Yeah,
I think that's really
yeah.
good. So,
I love that. That is so smart. And it's just going that extra level of things. I think sometimes we complain so much that trials don't turn up, whereas I feel like doing something like that video is going to help that trial to feel comfortable. And like you said, sometimes it's not even the kids that feel uncomfortable, it's actually the parents that feel uncomfortable.
absolutely. And we've got to think about our 4-year-olds now, or 5-year-olds. They were born in COVID, which was a rough time
Mm,
for everybody, and I think parents became a lot more wanting to hold their children closely. I would be, so
mm, mm.
yeah, I think sometimes we've got to think as a parent would too.
Yep,
Like
exactly.
we can't just think, or we could call it in Studio Growth Club fans first. Like you
Mm,
can't put your own needs first. You've got to think, all right, how will they feel in this situation?
I
It's
love
new.
that. I love
Yeah.
that. And tell me how you promote school readiness in your
Yes.
preschool program, because I feel
Yes.
like that's very appealing to a parent of a preschooler. That's really what they're mostly worried about. Is their child going to be ready for school?
Absolutely. And I think now in the society, it's so different to what it was 10 years ago. I think now parents want to see progress. And
Mm,
I believe, and there's so many other extracurricular activities out there. And with dance, really, let's face it, they can learn to dance if they put a screen on at home. They don't have to pay money to go,
mm,
to to dance. So what we do at Belmont Dance Centre, and this is how we've created it, which is just wonderful, and it does warm my heart. I'm very passionate about this. That the children come in and they do ballet first, and when I say ballet, it's very imaginative. Like we pick up shells and we do. It's very theme based, and we do bend and stretch, and then we introduce demi-plie and the words, because to a child, demi-plie means nothing,
Mm.
so I really take it back to that on their level, teach them as they are 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds, and so then they have jazz. We have a preschool jazz program. Then we do is I get all the parents to bring a little bit of fruit, and we have a fruit break. Now, not only does this split up, because it's an hour and a half program, but not only does it split up that time, but it also re-energizes the children by having something to eat. They have to actually get their lunch boxes out of their bag,
Mm.
undo their lunch boxes. We sit down and we talk about, what, tell me something that gives you energy. What food gives you energy? Or we play I Spy, and I spy with my little eyes a fruit that's someone that's red, and they'll say strawberries, or and we say, what's really important to make sure you drink lots of every day. And water, obviously, it's all those little things
Mm.
that I think contribute to the program,
I love that.
Yeah. And also another thing, like lining up at the door, changing rooms. Or as that age group, they don't like change. We've said that, and it's just getting them confident and, able to change rooms. And then we finish off with the amazing, I don't know if you've heard of it, Beck, this amazing Flippy the Fox program,
I have.
which I love.
So
Yeah.
acro, little
Yeah.
acro.
We do
Yep.
preschool acro, and which I love because it actually trains them safely, and to this day, like even the next group, they put their hands up like the Mickey Mouse ears before they do their forward roll. They just do it automatically,
Yep.
and
Yep.
safety is so important.
Oh, so cute. And how do
Yeah.
you share with the parents what you're doing with them? Because often I think, we do something in a closed room, parents are sitting outside. I always talk about this with Phoenix, but I'm at every training for Phoenix watching him. I'm at every soccer game. I'm, there. He's just started soccer academy, same thing. We're watching the whole time. So I'm a part of that, but parents often aren't, right?
Absolutely, exactly. And if you think about yourself leaving your most precious item
Mm.
in a room, that they're not familiar with, they don't, especially when they start. We've actually just invested in 2 beautiful large viewing windows, which are amazing. They're so amazing. We do have, which I love, progress cards that the children take home. We tick them off, and they take them home, and they reach each level, which again the parents can see that they're progressing. They're not just they're not
Mm.
just going in and dancing, and I think that's very important. I do, however, because we all know how disruptive it is to have the mummies or someone in the class,
Yes.
especially for little children.
Yes.
Um, if a child, especially when they first start, if the child's unsettled or, doesn't want to leave mum, I invite them in,
Yeah.
and they sit up in the corner, and and that's a good thing too, because then it gains my respect and my trust too, and it might only take 1 or 2 times that mummy's in there, and so and look, if it means that they're both going to be comfortable, not just a child, we have to think about the parents here too, the mummies. It's
Yep.
so important for it all to be working. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we get too in our heads about that stuff and,
Mhm.
go, oh, no, they didn't need to watch. And I agree with you. Like sometimes it takes a bit of easing in with
Yeah,
parent and child. And it's so
absolutely.
important to remember that. And it's interesting what you said about the level cards because
Mm.
I love at swimming that I know what Phoenix is doing, how he's progressing.
Yep,
They give us little stickers and he loves
yep,
bringing the sticker home and putting it on his chart when he gets home. I think there's
exactly.
something to that. And I think we don't do enough of that in our dance classes, and parents don't see the progress, and therefore it's bad for retention. Whereas when they're seeing that there's that constant progress, it's great for retention, right?
Absolutely. And also I've actually, because of what I've learned to do with the little children, like with the 3-year-olds, now I'm very lucky that we've got separate 3-year-old, 4-year-old and 5, like kindy
Wow.
classes, and they all have some sort of progression sheet, whether it's skipping, across the room, or, balancing, or, little things like that, that might not mean anything to us, but it means an awful lot to a parent, especially a non-dance parent.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that so much. All right. I wanted to ask you what this is a good one. What is the worst thing that
Yeah.
you think you've ever done at your studio? The worst.
Oh my gosh, I know there's been plenty, and I do, and and that's how we learn. So I'm not
True.
ashamed to say that I've done some things that, I have learned from. But I think two worst things for me, I used to always worry about losing those top kids, like the older kids,
Mm,
that really worried me. But since changing my mindset, now focusing on our preschool program, that will stay longer. Um,
mm,
Dance is very different now than what it was 10 years ago. There's because children have got so many activities, not like when
mm.
they used to only be ballet, and the parents too were very committed to one thing. So that I think I've just a completely different person now, that I don't focus on that, and not rocking myself in the corner thinking, oh my gosh, I've lost another child or whatever. I don't do that. Um, I've got two more. Is that all
Good.
right? I'm
Great.
so
Love it.
sorry.
No, it's great.
Numbers, knowing my numbers, that is,
Mm,
so important. And another one is consistency, being consistent across everything.
yeah.
And yeah, it's so important.
Well, let's delve into the knowing your numbers thing.
Yes.
So, before you knew your numbers, was it
Yeah.
just to bury your head in the sand? I don't want to
Mhm.
look. Kind of, was that the idea of it? Because I know that's what it was with me. I
Oh,
just, I didn't want to know. I knew that I was probably not making any money and it was terrible, but I didn't want to know. I just wanted to bury my head in the sand and keep working, working, working.
that was totally me. Or what I would focus on was the number of students. Like,
Mm.
that felt important to me, like the number of students, not how many classes they took, the number of students, But yes, it was, um, yeah, yeah, I've learned so much.
You have. So if you had, I just want to explain that to everyone out there, and we talk about it a lot. But if you had 100 students in your school and they were doing 100 class placements, meaning every single student is just doing one class,
Mhm,
that's a certain amount of money. If you had 100 students and they're doing 300 class placements because every student is taking on average 3 classes, that looks very, very different.
mhm,
So, knowing how many classes those students are doing and knowing your class placements and checking in on that is so important. And
mhm,
also putting things into your studio to try and up your class placements, like a free trial in acro this week, which
mhm.
might sound crazy because I know every week is a free trial in acro, but it's just, putting it out there. Sometimes that can make a huge difference. Have you ever done something like that to really up your class placements?
Absolutely. I make sure that our wonderful team know this as well, know the timetable and know how it works and how the classes are sitting, especially not for the preschool program as such, but afternoon classes. That
Mm.
if a child, we don't have very many children that just come for one class. They're all doing at least two. Actually, our class placement is 4.1, which is amazing.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh, and the numbers of classes we have currently are 891. So
Wow.
awesome. Yeah. But I think too, I think this is where, if you're passionate and know what you're doing and know that we're there to benefit the children we teach, we're not selling, we're actually helping those children by
Yep.
encouraging them to take another class, you
Mm.
know?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And tell me about consistency, because you and I have had quite a few calls where you've been crying,
Yes.
saying, I have to give up. I can't do this
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah.
Often, with your beautiful hubby next to you. And tell me the difference between Trudy then and
Yeah.
Trudy now, because now
Oh,
you're just consistent.
I know. Yeah.
Mm.
And we laugh in Studio Growth Club. It's a bit of like a bit of a laugh for us all. Like, we say all the things, and
Yes.
I remember one time when I rang Beck, and that was honestly, I was in tears. I didn't know how I was, going to go on, and Beck said, well, are you doing everything? And I said, yes, I am. And you know what? I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't doing, like, yeah. And that's like, now I can honestly say, over the last couple of years, I've learned to be consistent with marketing. Having paid Facebook ads is, that's incredible. And I honestly think people are silly if they don't have it. Even if you just start off small with your budget with it. I have a ad running 365 days of the year. I do, because it's so important. That's our shop front. And I
Mm.
also make sure that I have my Facebook, just for static posts, constant. So I have I've scheduled posts for 2 weeks in advance each time. But then if something more relevant comes up, I go in and just sort of change dates and, put those things in. Years ago, we used to pay for a newspaper ad. No one looks at things like that anymore. Facebook and Instagram and the socials, that's exactly where we need to be. And I feel that if one part of that isn't aligning with the other parts, so say if there hasn't been a post for a week or a couple of weeks, if I'm a new parent, again, putting myself in their shoes, if I'm a new parent and first thing you do, even when you go to buy a new outfit or whatever, you look and scroll on their Facebook. And if
Mm.
there's nothing posted for, quite a while, it's like, oh, are they still in business? Are they
Exactly.
are they still going?
Yep.
So yeah, doing all of that. I just feel being consistent is so important.
Mm. Can I ask you a question? Did you
Sure.
have a moment? Because, like, when I was being coached and I wasn't doing any of the things, it's similar, right?
Mm.
And my moment was my coach saying to me, Beck, you can keep coming here and crying every week, or you can actually do the shit I'm telling you to do and start putting some effort in and change. And that was, and it wasn't that I wasn't working hard. I was working hard at teaching, but I wasn't working hard on the business. That was my moment. And I remember that moment so vividly. Did you have a moment, or not really? It was just kind of okay, I just need to start being consistent.
I think being part of such an amazing mentor program such as Studio Growth Club, and having, the three most wonderful mentors, um, it was good for me because I got the slap that I needed, like the gentle
Mm,
slap. Like, it wasn't one moment. It was many of them, and being honest to yourself. Like, you've got to think, well, okay, what you've just got to be truthful and honest to yourself and look inside too.
mm,
You know,
mm.
so yeah,
I love
just
that.
yeah, I'm so grateful to not only, like, just the whole community of Studio Growth Club. And I
Yeah.
can say, if anyone's thinking about going on Studio Growth Club or even being part of the tribe, honestly, don't think for much longer. It'll be the best decision you make, the best investment. You know, yeah, and you'll
Oh,
get to meet
you're you get to meet you. And you are incredible. Well, thank you so much, Trudy. We have had the best time with you today.
my
Guys, if you're ever interested in joining SGC or Tribe, please reach out to us. We would love to support and help you. That's our favorite thing to do. And as Trudy said, you get to come hang with her, and she is a blast.
Yes. And if anyone, like, would like to, DM me or anything, or ask me questions, or, on a side note, as part of this wonderful team, I'd be more than happy to,
Oh,
chat back. Ever forever everyone. I say to our beautiful friends in our Studio Growth Club community that I'm everyone's biggest cheerleader. So I can
oh,
be yours
you
too.
are. Oh, you're amazing. Well, thank you so much, Trudy.
Yes,
You have been incredible. And thanks, friends. We will talk to you all next week. Bye bye.
bye.